care what page you start with your notes on. So we're factoring polynomials. We did a lot of factoring third quarter with just trinomials. So they only had an x squared. Okay? We are going to move away from x squares and do x cubes and x to the fourths today. Okay? But if you could do x squareds, then you're going to find probably today pretty easy. Okay? So you have steps to factor. So the first step is that you need to factor out the GCMF, so which is the greatest common monomial factor. So what is the greatest number or variable that all your terms have in common? That's what that means. You'd factor that out depending on. Sometimes it will be a number, sometimes it will be a variable, sometimes it will be both. If I'm looking at the variable, it's the variable with lowest exponent is what will get factored out. And then the second step, I'm just going to put diamond the trinomial. And by diamond, it's our diamond problem that we did. So we will have A and A on either side. The middle at the top is A times C, and the bottom middle is B. And that's where you can use your factor to 100 sheet if it helps you. Remember, the trinomial will be AX squared plus BX plus C. Okay. And you had those on your third quarter exam. There's two of them there. One was easier, one was more difficult. We will be dealing with the easier ones, just FYI. Okay, so we're going to do, I don't know, 8 examples or so. Okay, so for example 1, x cubed plus 7x squared plus 10x. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, we cannot use a diamond because it's an x cubed. You can only use the diamond for things that are x squared. Okay? So if I'm looking at these three terms, x cubed, 7x squared, and 10x, they have something in common. What do they have in common? X. And x. So that is your greatest common monomial factor. So we're going to take that x out and put it out front. And then if I take an x away from each one of the terms, what are you left with? X squared. Yeah, x squared plus 7x plus 10. If I have an x cubed, we talked about this last week, you have 3 x's there. If I take one away, it's an x squared. If I have an x squared and I add 2 x's, I take one away, that leaves me with the 1x. That's why it's 7x.
Wait, so you always take the x out?
Yes.
Okay.
If they have an x in each one. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now from there, we can use our diamond problem, because here's our trinomial, and we can use our diamond to factor that. So if I put my diamond here, my A is 1. So on top, on either side would be 1. The middle at the top would be 10, and the middle at the bottom would be 7. So if you have your factor sheet, you're looking for factors of 10 that will give you 7.
2 and 5.
Okay, 2 and 5, 5 and 2, it doesn't matter which one you put on the left and which one you put on the right. It doesn't matter.
So
Okay, and so who remembers how do I rewrite,
X plus 2.
good, x plus 2, Shamira, and the other side would be
X plus 5.
x plus 5. And then you have one other piece you have to do. Does anybody know what the other piece is?
Subtract them.
Nope. You have to bring the x down
X is down
from,
from the problem.
yep, from the original problem. And so now we have factored that. And that we are going to tie with what we did yesterday in a couple days, on Thursday.
We got a test.
Okay. You got a test next Tuesday.
What are we doing Friday?
Friday this week, practice of what notes from Thursday. If you need it, just get it from me on Thursday.
Okay, because I'm going to be here Friday.
Okay. Okay, so the only part that's really new is being able to pull out that x. Okay? So question number 2. We'll do another one like so if I'm looking at x cubed minus 7x squared minus 18x. What? Do you have 3 terms there? They all have a x. So pull your x out.
X squared minus 7x minus 18.
Correct. So when I pull my x out, I'm going to have an x squared minus 7x minus 18. And just like we did on the last problem, you need to diamond what I just put a box around. And so your a value is 1. Your middle at the top is negative 18, and the middle at the bottom is negative 7. Now, you need to be careful because I want your factors to multiply to give you negative 18 and to subtract to give you negative 7. Which one is it?
Negative 9 and 2.
Negative 9 and 2. I went through it. I'll look through them again. I didn't see. Okay, so we said it's negative 9 and 2. So on the left side, this will factor to x minus 9. And on the right side, this would be x plus 2. And then you have to bring your x down on the outside.
Okay, so you know how when the top number is a negative, is it, so do negative 9 has to be first, or it can go in either spot?
You could have a 2 on the left and a negative 9 on the right. It doesn't matter which spot. The negative has to be with the 9 but.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So question number 3. We have 2x cubed plus 8x squared minus 10x.
2x cubed plus 8x squared.
Now this one is a little different because
Got 2 in front.
we have a 2 in front, but we also have, what do they have in common? Does everybody see they have an x in common?
Yes.
Each one has an x.
Yes.
Okay, so now look at the numbers. You have 2, 8, and 10.
All even numbers.
They're all even numbers, so what do they all have in common?
2.
A 2. So not only do we take an x out, but we also take a 2 out. So when we factor this, our greatest common monomial factor is by taking out a 2x.
2x and then with the x squared minus 4x.
Good.
Plus
X
4x
plus 4x
minus 5x.
minus, not 5x,
5.
minus 5. Now,
Oh.
you guys did that, some of you did that, but explain to me, how did I know to put a 4 here and not an 8x?
You have to divide
Because you got to divide everything.
Okay, good. I pulled a 2 out, so I'm dividing 8 by 2 to get the 4, and I'm dividing negative 10 by 2 to get negative 5. Yes?
Why did you bring the X down for the 5?
Because I took that x out.
Okay.
Okay? So if I pull an x out, that means that I'm going to only have, and in x cubed you have 3 x's, right? If I take an x away, now I have 2. That's why there's a 2 there. If I have an x squared and I take an x away, I only have 1 x left. And if I only have 1 x to begin with and I pull it out, then I can't include the x there. Does that make sense? Okay. So now if I diamond this problem, I would have 1, 1, negative 5, and 4. So I need factors of 5, which makes it pretty easy because what are your factors of 5? 1 and 5, okay? But I need it to give me a positive 4 when I add and or subtract it, and when I multiply, I need it to give me negative 5. So what are they?
5 and negative 1.
5 and negative 1, which is correct.
X plus 5 and x minus 1.
Okay, so this is x plus 5, and this is going to be x minus 1,
Bring that to 2.
and bring down the 2x. Almost as easy as yesterday? For those of you that were here yesterday.
You are a good teacher.
Thank you.
I don't know how you are. Probably get mad at the kids. No, it's not that way.
Okay, so 4 is similar to number 3. Think about it on your own. What can you take out? You have an x cubed, an x squared, and an x. So that should maybe be obvious what variable comes out. But what number can you pull out of 9, 6, and 3? And if you need to just stop when you get done there, just stop right there, and we'll continue with the next step. But see what you can come up with that's going to get pulled out of that.
How many questions are we doing today?
I think 6,
They,
8,
get three.
something like that.
2 and negative 1. No, negative 2 and 1.
You said negative 2.
No, negative 1 and 1.
To get
You gotta
negative
get
3?
negative 2.
All the way.
Oh, no, don't.
Yeah. Oh, wait, are you checking individually or are you doing it?
I'll do it.
Oh, okay.
Negative 1 plus negative 1. 2, negative 2. Wait, don't you gotta do something that multiply with negative 3?
Well, 1 and 1, bro. Why you can't hold it here?
Well, negative 3 won't like it.
C. Why that's our C right there? Negative 1.
But I thought you did 8 times C.
No, we gotta divide everything by 3. Why you at this one? You at 4.
This is 4.
Okay, so hopefully you see that an x will come out of that. If I have 9, 6, and 3, what does 9, 6, and 3 have in common?
3.
A 3. So we're going to also pull a 3 out. So we're going to pull the 3x out.
8 times C.
Okay, when I pull a 3x out, what is my first term in my trinomial going to be? 3x squared.
Plus 2x
Plus-
minus 1.
That's correct. Does everybody see where you get the 3x squared plus 2x minus 1? And if you're not positive you did that right, you could check because you could distribute your 3x. And then you would have what you started with if you need to do that. Okay? And so this one kind of is a little bit more difficult to do your diamond with because what is your a value? It's 3, it's not 1. The middle term at top is negative 3, and the middle term at the bottom? 2. So I need factors of 3. It's 3 and negative 1. Very good.
1 and negative 2?
No, because you need multiples of 3, not multiples of 2. Okay, so what do I need to do with this 3 over 3?
Turn it
You
into 1.
gotta divide it by 3.
Okay, so that's 1 over 1, so this will be x plus 1. And this side, the other side will be 3x minus 1, and then bring your 3x down in front. And that's probably the most complicated that they will get. Right there. We'll practice tomorrow. Tomorrow you'll have a sheet to practice. And notes aren't as long this week is because my morning classes, there's people getting pulled out constantly. So I was missing 12 kids in one belt this morning. So you guys should have plenty of time to do things. Because testing, field trips, all kinds of things. Okay, 5. This is the first one that does not start with x cubed. It starts with x to the 4th. So when you're looking at an x to the 4th, okay, what do they have in common? You have an x to the 4th, you have an x cubed, and you have an x squared.
They all got
They have x to what power in common?
They all have
2.
2 x's.
2. Because x to the 4th is like having 4 x's. So this is 4 x's here. X cubed is 3 x's, and x squared is 2 x's. So they all have 2 x's in common, so we're going to do x squared. And then what am I going to be left with?
X squared minus 2x minus 8.
X squared minus 2x minus 8. And so if I diamond what's inside, my A is 1, A times C is negative 8, and my B is negative 2. So I need factors of 8. So on your sheet, you got factors of 8. That's going to subtract to give you negative 2. So factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Which
4 and 2, but
4 and 2, which one's going to be negative?
4.
4's the negative one. Very good. So I will have x minus 4, x plus 2, and then don't forget you have to bring your x squared down out front.
so when you take in, if this x to the 4th power, you always take out 2 x's.
Yes. 6. We're going to go back to an x cubed one.
They both have 8 in common.
Okay, what do they have in common?
8,
Nope, they don't have an 8 in common.
4,
Nope, they don't have a
Two.
4. They just have an x.
I thought it was 2. Oh, because all of them not.
Because that's only a 1. So 1 doesn't have 4 in common, 1 doesn't have 2 in common. What's left in the the trinomial?
8x squared plus 8x.
How about x squared? You said 8x squared.
I said 8x.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not supposed to say 8x.
That's all right. You were ahead of where I was. That's fine. No, that's fine. And plus
16.
16. Good. So if I diamond this problem, my A's are 1, A times C is 16, and my B is 8. So factors of 16, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4, that will add to give you 8. 4 and 4. So when I write this down, I'm going to have x plus 4, x plus 4, and drop my x out in front. But that answer will be wrong. Some of you did this on the exit slip yesterday, and I had to count it wrong. How do I have to rewrite that? Because when we go to
X plus
graphing
4
here by
squared.
Friday and we're graphing,
Effort is still testing.
okay, thank you. When we go to graphing, this will produce the wrong graph. So you have to write it correctly. So how should I write this?
X plus 4 squared.
X parentheses x plus 4 squared.
Correct. So you have to, this is the correct answer, because it is going to affect the way the graph looks. Okay? So make sure that you square that.